Here is my reflection for a lesson I recently took using Fotobabble. I had a class of 8 learners between 8 and 9 years old, and I wanted to do some speaking practice, including doing some adjectives and going over some prepositions we had recently learnt. I wanted to use Fotobabble on the interactive whiteboard, a program which I myself had practiced with, but my learners had never encountered before.
I love Fotobabble.
I wanted the lesson to be fun and interactive, as I knew my students would enjoy using the new program. To create a motivating learning environment, I decided to give the students plenty of time to practice what they wanted to say. The day before, I had asked them to choose a favourite photo from a selection I gave them of a recent field trip to a Korean folk village. Next, I split the students into pairs and gave them a list of key vocabulary I would like them to try and use in their Fotobabble. This included some prepositions and some adjectives we had recently covered. I gave the students 10 minutes to start to formulate some ideas of what they wanted to say over their photo. Whilst they were doing this, I circulated around the class, providing assistance and helping them write down some key notes of what they wanted to say. After 15 minutes, we were finished and we decided to begin recording the Fotobabbles. Another way I created a positive and motivating learning environment was by making the lesson a collaborative effort. I told the students I wanted us to watch all of our Fotobabbles at the end, and as a result, they helped and supported each other in using the language. After the Fotobabbles had been successfully recorded, the students then sat down and we presented each other's Fotobabbles by playing them to the whole class and explaining any points that the students wanted explaining. This was a fun and interesting lesson which used something new to the students, and I think they really enjoyed. Other than the program, Fotobabble, the teaching aids and materials with the interactive whiteboard and a selection of photos which I had prepared from the day before. I do think the teaching aids and materials were appropriate. However, I think that it might have been wise to try and preempt the length of time it would take to record all of the Fotobabbles, as a lot of the lesson was spent with some students inactive whilst other students recorded their Fotobabbles. This is something I would try to avoid in the future. Having said that, once all the Fotobabbles were recorded, then the students really enjoyed watching each other's presentations, asking questions, and of course giving the presentations themselves, and it turned out to be a thoroughly enjoyable lesson. I think the task itself was entirely appropriate for the age group and level I had chosen. They were able to complete the task. It was a great way for them to review some language we had been learning, and it was also a lot of fun for them. However, I do think I could have managed the task better. I could have preempted the length of time it would have taken to use the software, and in future I think better time management on my part could result in a smoother flowing and more effective lesson. To offer a final evaluation for my lesson, I would say my students responded to it very well, and I have had requests to actually have another lesson like it again, which is always rewarding. However, an alternate way of running the lesson would be to set the photo choice task as homework, and also to ask the students to think about what they would like to say about the photo as homework. In that way, I would like to take a lot of the time out of the lesson so we could get on to the presentation faster and therefore enjoy more time practicing our speaking. I also think that Fotobabble is a program that the children may take a bit of time to perfect, but once they do, can be very useful to use again.
Fotobabble is cool!